So today we're going to be talking over a few controversies happening in Magic the Gathering recently, the most recent of which is the complete death and end of the MPL, otherwise known as Professional Magic as we know it for the past couple of years. So the MPL has been officially canceled and disbanded and no longer will continue by Wizards of the Coast via a tweet recently from their official Twitter account. And that means there's going to be a lot of changes to how we view professional Magic. But these are all relatively recent changes, as Magic the Gathering has been in a constant flux of change when it comes to how they view tournament play. For years, it was based around, grinding, going to local events, getting up your points, and being able to be invited to higher Grand Prix and tournaments, championships, that sort of thing. But as of 2 years ago, Wizards of the Coast wanted to take it in a different direction. They wanted it to be more esportsy. Yes. The world is getting more esportsy. Video games are making hands over fist of just piles of cash. League of Legends. Name literally any game that has an online presence that's team related or anything like that. Hearthstone, DOTA. They all have this tournament presence, this esports presence. You can go back a little bit further to Call of Duty when that was pretty heavy. Halo, I watched a ton of Halo competitive tournament play. StarCraft tournaments, huge money, and Magic the Gathering wanted to capture that sort of appeal, grand audience appeal. But Wizards of the Coast and Magic the Gathering never really got into it. They always opted to stay more for the local kind of building up a story of champions coming through the tournament grinds, as it were, and sticking to paper Magic play. This is from the MTGA Zone website, and basically it's just recanting a little bit of what was discussed in those series of tweets. The organization let us know that the dream of making a career out of Magic as an esport professional has officially died, and many players mourn this loss. For years, Magic pros have been the pinnacle of talent and skill within our game, and like other gaming platforms, it was possible to make a livable salary by competing and winning in tournament play. This has been going on since the 90s. You had plenty of people who were going out, grinding out tournaments, and a lot of former pros from those times are heading to Twitter right now in response to this news to say that it feels like something special has ended today. Although a lot of those same sentiments are shared specifically with those being impacted by this change, and it's not the overall Magic the Gathering community. Let's go ahead and go over how did we get here, what the changes are, and what does it mean for the future of Magic the Gathering professional play, or high stakes play. Well, after some soul searching over the months that we're experiencing COVID, within real card play, when it was shelved, Wizards attempted to pivot to leagues and championships on their relatively newer digital platform of MTGA Arena. Now, it's been around for a while, but it really hasn't been utilized in a way that would promote good viewership, would promote good competitive tournaments. But Wizards wanted to show that they could manage this esport environment in an older game like Magic the Gathering and capture that lightning in a bottle that like League of Legends and DOTA have, which they bring in millions and millions of dollars of advertising and have hundreds of thousands of people watching their high-stake level play. They figured a game as historic and influential as Magic the Gathering could translate over to this type of environment where people would just lose their mind watching this big spectacle, this gigantic event where the top players are going at it 101 for a massive prize pool, all right? Massive. Like, they pumped all of their resources when they created the MPL. The MPL, the Professional Magic League, was designed specifically to hype up professional Magic. Specifically, it was going to be in-card, in-person kind of tournament play, but it was specifically designed to hype up the spectacle of Magic the Gathering and appease and bring in a greater audience. That was the whole design. The whole idea of it was to bring in money and bring in eyes to Magic the Gathering with a show. And at the Invitationals, man, did they show off. They really did. Huge stage. Amazing props, pyrotechnics, people hyping up in the crowd, announcers, narrators. Just everything was going great. They had that epic commercial where you take the player's view, walking out on stage, hearing the roar of the crowd, the confetti falling, all this stuff. Everything was trying to get you hyped for Magic MPL, the new age of professional Magic. And with that, the dream that you could be a paid professional Magic player. Yes, you can make Magic the Gathering, playing it, your job. How that happened was, if you could get into the Pro League, if you could compete in these tournaments, not only could you get the chance of winning these high-stake prize pots, the biggest prize pots Magic the Gathering has ever seen, but you would also be given a salary by Wizards of the Coast directly. You would be a paid salary employee of Wizards of the Coast, essentially. So a lot of games actually do this. They do pay their teams, their professional teams, a livable salary and use their likeness and their ability to play the game as a way to generate income for the game itself. Wizards of the Coast thought they could take this formula and use it for their own franchise, use it to promote their own game. It does not, shockingly, translate very well. And that's because Magic the Gathering, I'm going to be the one to say it, is not that fun to watch at a high level. It just isn't. All right? I don't know how much you guys watch professional Magic. I'm not sure how closely you follow professional Magic. I'll be the first one to say that I have never followed it, nor have I had ever any desire to partake in it or even watch it. I didn't follow, watch, or anything. Maybe I would be excited to see, hey, who won Worlds? Who won the Grand Prix? I would figure out who won, what deck they were using, and be like, oh, that's cool. That's neat. But the average Magic the Gathering player just is uninterested. They're not going to go to an event like that, a high-stake event. They're not going to really try to be that high-level player. So it didn't really engage the audience too well because a lot of people play Magic the Gathering, it's true, but not a lot of people are playing it at a high level like these people were. Not only that, the actual watching of a game is not that thrilling. As much hype as you can try to throw at Magic the Gathering, especially as an esport, and putting up hyping up announcers and commentators and trying to add like WrestleMania type nuances to things like, oh my god, he's going in. I'm sorry, but it is just a tabletop card game after all. There's only so much artificial hype you can kind of jam into it to make it more engaging. In that, watching it is sort of like watching chess. Does it draw a big audience? Yes. Does it have a big pool of personalities? Yeah, it sure does. Does it make a lot of money from an esports scene? No, it doesn't. Is it world-renowned? Sure. Chess has more people and enthusiasts than Magic the Gathering does. I'm pretty sure. I don't have numbers in front of me. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that chess is probably worldwide a more popular game than Magic the Gathering. And if chess cannot translate to a hype esport type of feel, I don't think Magic the Gathering would be any more successful. And the experiment of MPL sort of proved that right. So the whole thing about MPL was they had their stock of really good players. They would pay them a salary. I believe it was like something around $60,000 a year. Plus, of course, the chance of winning grand prizes and stuff like that. But, and that's not chump change. That's pretty good. Like, that's a good salary. A lot of people would kill for a salary like that, and the chance to win more on top of that. And not to mention, you're literally getting paid to play Magic. So I do feel bad that now that the MPL is ending, these players will no longer get a paycheck. They don't have a job anymore, you know? And you can go to these professional players' Twitters right now. They're tweeting about it right now. They are. They're out there letting their opinions be known. That they lost their jobs, essentially. Magic the Gathering, Wizards of the Coast, has already reached out to them and said, do not expect to make a living professionally off Magic the Gathering in the future. With the death of the MPL, with the failed experiment that was trying to make Magic the Gathering a international mainstream esports, being a professional Magic the Gathering player with a salary in the game is dead. Now, we don't know what the future is going to hold for professional Magic play. We can make an assumption, but as Wizards of the Coast tends to do, they are terrible at communicating what they're doing or what they're planning to the player base. We are literally a weekend away. This weekend, like we're literally a day away from another tournament being held in preparation for, you know, MLP or MPL tournament season. You know, the postseason even. We're right there. And they're like, yeah, we're going to drop this on you. In the future, we will not be supporting professional players. Now, I said in this video that kind of a hot take, but I think this is a good move. I think it's a really good move. Now, like I said, I do feel bad for the MPL players who had this as a job and this was their income. It was a dream that they had. Wizards of the Coast pulls it out from under them, and they are out of a job in that arena. So I do feel for them. I really do. But from what I could tell, the MPL only supported 30 or so professionals. Yes, only 30 or so professionals were being paid to be professional Magic the Gathering players. This is obviously an incredibly small percent of the overall player base. It's an incredibly small percent of those even looking to become professional or high-stakes Magic the Gathering players. So, despite it being awful that they no longer have a job, and Wizards of the Coast kind of set them up for failure with the MPL, it's better that all of this resource, all of this money, is being pulled out of the MPL, and hopefully, it will be pumped back into smaller local events and the traditional style that tournament play has been going on for, 20 some years, 30 plus years, whatever it is. I don't know if that's going to happen. Wizards of the Coast is historically terrible at communicating to players and the community and the fan base. And of course, when they released this statement, they said, hey, the future is bright and we're looking towards it. So with Wizards of the Coast announcing that they are making changes, but not saying what those changes are, we do know like Grand Prix and championships are going to be a thing. They're going to exist. We have no idea what the prize pools look like. We have no idea what the qualifiers look like. We have no idea what any of these look like. But at the same time, if they decide to put some of this money into those smaller events, into paper Magic, making it safe again, all this kind of stuff, I think it will be a straight positive for the Magic the Gathering community at large. Yes, these 30 or so players losing their job essentially is tragic, but obviously, professional Magic is not something that can be consumed at such a high volume to be considered an esport. Dedicated fans of the game are going to watch the games no matter how they're played, really. You want to add extra flair to it? You want to add good quality to it? Yeah, I'm all for that. Building a huge spectacle around it, thinking that you're going to draw in some untapped potential of legions of fans licking at their chops to watch high-stakes professional Magic when, hey, let's be honest, 28% of the decks are the same, and it's all going to come down to a random draw to see who wins. Who's going to get mana flooded? who's going to get mana droughted. Like, that is seriously what high-stakes professional Magic comes down to. It's not like chess where every game can be a little bit different. And I know professional chess can get really samey with a lot of the same opening moves, and then, you kind of know how a player works and all, and like, moving into the mid game, end game. I don't know chess. All right, I'm just saying chess terms because I watched the Queen's Gambit not too long ago. I'm just saying chess stuff. But it has more veritability than a lot of high stakes Magic the Gathering play. All right, it really does. So if you really think that you're going to bring in a bunch of non-dedicated professional-esque players, high-tier players, to watch your Magic the Gathering stream or championship event, it just didn't happen. I didn't believe it was going to happen when they first announced all this and they tried to make a run for an esport. And it turns out a lot of people don't want to watch it. The numbers were historically low. The people trying to get into the program or the league were confused on how to do it. No one understood anything about this process. It was rushed, and it was just like Wizards of the Coast was riding hype the entire time. And the death of the MPL, the death of professional Magic, while costly to some, obviously, we sympathize, it isn't a big impact to the overall Magic the Gathering community. The vast majority of the player base, they don't care. They're not going to watch this. They're not going to try to become the next Magic the Gathering pro. Now, if you somehow tapped into that unspoken majority of people who wanted to consume high-level Magic the Gathering tournament content, and yeah, this spectacle brought in a bunch of new players, a bunch of new eyes to Magic the Gathering itself as an esport, and you expanded it, and you were able to not only pay those original players, but expand it and support it, we would be talking a whole different thing here. But unfortunately, Wizards of the Coast failed. They'll never admit it. They'll never say it in a press release. They're going to dance around it. They're going to beat around the bush. But 2 years ago, they wanted to shake up Magic the Gathering tournament play as we know it. They brought out all the hype. They brought out all the fireworks. They brought out everything they could to draw up attention. And they got it. For a little bit. And then 2 years later, here we are. The MPL is dead. Professional Magic the Gathering players who had that money to rely on for the past couple of years are without a job. The future state of Magic the Gathering competitive play is questionable. Are we just going to revert back to the old style of things? The style that Wizards of the Coast admitted when they first changed it 2 years ago, that it wasn't working for them anymore, that we had to go into a different direction? Or are they going to cook up something new? Something we not sure about? Are they going to put more money into Magic the Gathering Arena? Again, something that is continuously pulling below expectation of numbers for their tournaments. And not to mention, crashes reliably when a lot of players are trying to engage with a tournament in some way. So are you going to use Magic the Gathering Arena to maybe have closed off sanctioned events with only select players? Are you going to prevent the vast majority of players from getting into these tournaments somehow? Is it going to even translate well to something that can be watchable and people enjoy? This is all a question right now. For me, if you were to ask me, and I am not someone who's well engaged in professional play. I'm not. I'm going to be the first one to say I've never, ever, ever done it. I have no interest in it. But this is a big story for a lot of people, so I wanted to talk about it. But if you were to ask me, what should they do? They really should go back to the old style of things. The old grinding. The in-Magic play. I know, COVID's a thing. Hopefully we can get it under wraps soon. Seems like we're heading in the right direction. But as soon as you're able to do in-person play again, do it. Magic the Gathering Arena, streaming in general, and being in esports is not something that is fruitful for Magic the Gathering. It is a failed experiment. The players themselves, the people invested in Magic the Gathering, have spoken, and they are not interested at a grand level that would make it worth pursuing. Maybe something will change in the future, but as of right now, it's not a good idea to continue down that path. Put that money that you were investing into a select few elite, put it back into the local game stores in some way. Now I know I feel silly. I know that money ain't going there. Well, let's be honest, all right? But you know what? If the death of the MPL means that more people have a chance to play at a high level, maybe they can't play professionally as a means of a career, but it will give people the off chance, the dream, to win a championship, to win a tournament, to win a Grand Prix, to be an underdog and grind your way up. You're not looking at the same cast of 30 so high stakes players. Everyone will have a chance to perform well and play the game at their level. Like I said, you might not be able to make a career out of it, but it'd be one hell of a moment, wouldn't it? Something that we just don't see much anymore. Hopefully we go back to that, guys. But right now, we just don't know where this is going to end up. Rest in peace, MPL. And we'll see what the future holds. As Wizards of the Coast likes to say, we're looking towards the future. We're not going to tell you what the future might have. We're not going to tell you what we're thinking. But we'll get there. Anyway, guys. That's it for this. Let me know your own thoughts in the comment section below. And until next time, see ya.